We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the Vietnam War. The government has been getting bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeff here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your weekday morning show where we bring you the latest and everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And we have a phenomenal bullish setup forming right now on the Bitcoin chart. Are we about to see a massive rally back up to the local resistance that Bitcoin is watching at $91,000 based on an inverse head and shoulders pattern that we are witnessing down on the 1 hour chart? Or is the bullish RSI divergence that we're witnessing right now just a tease? Are we being teased? Is this a bull trap? Is Bitcoin actually done with this correction? Time will tell, but so will we in today's episode of Coffee and Crypto Live. If you want to know where Bitcoin's going next, and you want to know why it's going there, not just because some goob on the internet told you their opinion, but based on the facts, based on the chart, based on the sentiment, based on the data, then you found the right place. We're going to talk about where Bitcoin is, where it's going, and what we ought to be doing about it, as always, on your favorite morning cryptocurrency podcast, Coffee and Crypto Live. If you are joining with me from around the world, make sure to raise your coffee and raise your water that keeps you hydrated, because we all know coffee dehydrates you, so you stay hydrated, you guys. And let's get started. We've got a lot to cover, so let's not waste any more time. Jumping on over to CoinMarketCap, Bitcoin is currently, with a quick refresh, trading at $82,500. This is an encouraging movement. We've got a large rally that has taken place on Bitcoin. We are up about $5,000 over just the last few days, and this is possibly a bottom that's forming for Bitcoin. We're going to talk about whether or not it actually is a bottom that is forming for Bitcoin as the show goes on here, but for right now, this is a possible bottom on Bitcoin. If we jump on over to the chart, I want to show you something first in the United States stock market. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, for example, is down dramatically ever since about January 31st. Ever since it became apparent that we were going to see a major international trade war, we have seen a major crash and capitulation on the United States stock market, along with every other market globally. S&P 500 is down in a major way, and even today, which is important, we'll talk about that in a minute, even today, the United States stock market is down. SPY is down. QQQ is down quite dramatically as well. Looking at Bitcoin, on the other hand, if we just go ahead and clear all our drawings and start from a fresh chart here, we can see that if we bracket Bitcoin based on its current zone, which is a zone between prior resistance at $73,800, which is now current support, denoted in blue here, and our current resistance denoted by red here at $91,000, we will see that Bitcoin is well and truly in this zone, and that a bounce may be happening right now. A couple of reasons for that. Out on the longer term time frame on the weekly chart, we've got the 50 weekly moving average coming in as support, sitting at $75,000. A beautiful bounce, a beautiful repetition of market structure from days past. Last summer, we bounced off of the 50 weekly simple moving average, and we went into a major rally from there on good news. It's very possible that we are going into the exact same kind of movement today, where Bitcoin is trying to bounce off of the 50 weekly simple moving average. Looks like I need to clear something up on this stock market analysis from a second ago. Pew Pew Poom 2 said QQQ and SPY is up, my dude. If you'll take a look at today's daily chart, you can see that we have a green and a flat candle here. On the last couple of days, we've got a bit of a bounce. We've got a higher open here on stocks, but even today, you can see that they are on their way down. Even in just the last couple of hours since U.S. stocks opened, there has been a large red candlestick, whereas Bitcoin in a similar time frame has been going through large rallies. So Bitcoin is leading the U.S. stock market in a minor way. Not a massive way, but in a minor way. We're taking a bit of a leadership position here, which is good news. Out on that weekly chart, Bitcoin is currently holding above the 50 simple moving average. We have bounced off of the 50 simple moving average at both points in time this cycle that we've gone through major rallies. The first time we went through a major rally here, we rallied at 200%, $50,000 over the course of 200 days. And then not long ago, from September to about January of this year, we rallied 140 days, 100%. Both of those rallies jumped all the way off of off of their bottoms, off of that level of support, about 100 to 200%. So if we bounce here, this would be a textbook market structure repetition playing out here. If you guys have gone through the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, where we have been teaching you guys for the better part of a decade how to analyze cryptocurrency markets, you will know that market structure is extremely important. This is some of the basics of how you understand cryptocurrency markets. As you start in the technical markets, the technical analysis of the markets, and you understand the way that they work. This is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful textbook market structure being built. Bitcoin is repeating itself time and time again in a pattern that is easy to analyze. I've been waiting for a very obvious, beautiful market structure to come in this cycle, and we're finally getting it. We've been looking for it for years. We didn't really get it in the last cycle. The last time that I saw market structure as beautiful as what we're seeing right now, where we have the exact same thing happen 3 or 4 or 5 times just in repetition, in cycle, was back in the 2017 bull market. We saw cycles where Bitcoin would drop back down to the 100 daily simple moving average, then bounce. 100 daily simple moving average, bounce. 100 daily simple moving average, bounce. Now we're doing the same thing, except instead of the 100 daily simple, we're bouncing off of the 50 weekly, which is basically the 1 year average price. You can see the 1 year average price for Bitcoin here has just been shooting straight up. You can see over the last 10 years here what that's looked like. This line right here is the 50 simple moving average. In general, it's spent about 80% of the time over the last 10 years on the uptrend. That is the long-term average price of Bitcoin, and it is very encouraging to see. So if we look down on the shorter term time frame as well, we are currently looking at a bottoming formation down here. Everything from the 1 hour chart all the way up to the daily chart is looking at a bullish set of RSI divergence. We've got lower lows here on the RSI right there. Let's go ahead and clear out this chart a little bit. We've got lower lows on the RSI here, higher lows on the RSI there, which is bullish RSI divergence. Same thing's happening on the 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour, 6 hour. You can kind of pause or slow down and look at this here. 8 hour, 12 hour, and daily chart. All of them have bullish RSI divergence. Even out here on the 2-day chart, you've got bullish RSI divergence. 3 daily chart and now turns into bearish. You don't see it. So over the course of the 1 hour chart out to the 2-day chart, that's a range from 1 hour chart to the 48-hour chart. You are witnessing bullish RSI divergence forming on Bitcoin. This is a phenomenal setup, especially when you consider the fact that the inverse head and shoulders pattern here on the 1 hour chart is forming. We're having an inverse head and shoulders pattern forming on the 1 hour chart, with a shoulder line that has been, a neckline that has been built just absolutely beautifully. This is textbook perfect inverse head and shoulders pattern. Got the uptrend right here, pushing us into the resistance. Absolutely beautiful formation here. This is giving us a price target, as you can see, at exactly $91,000, our previous major level of support and our current top of the range that Bitcoin is in. If you remember, over the last couple of months, Bitcoin was bouncing time and time again off of $91,000, which built it as the floor of this market. So, of course, once we broke beneath that, Bitcoin would fall $15,000 and we entered into this new range. If the inverse head and shoulders pattern plays out, a rally to $91,000 very well may happen, but then we're left with a question. And now that the exposition of today's stream is over, we can actually dive into the meat and potatoes of today's episode, which is whether or not Bitcoin will be able to break 91. Because at this point, we don't know, but there is a very strong possibility that Bitcoin will rally up to $91,000 at some point over the next couple of days as a result of this inverse head and shoulders pattern. Can Bitcoin break 91 right now and send us into a major uptrend? That is the question that is on the table right now. That's what we've got to be looking at. A bit of context for this question. Bitcoin has spent a lot of the last 12 to 14 months in one of 3 ranges. We spent most of that time either in this range between $50,000 and $73,000. We spent some time over the last 3 months or so in a range between 91 and 109, so that's this range up here. Bitcoin completely skipped over 73 to 91, so now we're filling in this range. Does it stand to reason that we're going to break up to 91, break through it, and then go right back into that upper range right now? Not really. It makes more sense that Bitcoin would spend a little bit more time down here between 73 and 91 to fill in this gap. Everybody talks about CME futures gaps, but nobody has been talking about VRVP gaps, volume profile gaps. If you see anyone talking about VRVP or FRVP, fixed range volume profile gaps, know that we started talking about it here first. This is something that we've got to pay attention to. When you look at the fixed range volume profile, especially when you look at the fixed range volume profile, not including the recent price data, this recent drop. Just delete everything. Let's go ahead and put the FRVP here, fixed range volume profile. if we put the fixed range volume profile from the beginning of the bull market to when we actually fell below this level, you'll notice something here. And that is this range. Let's just go back onto regular so we can see it a little bit better. This range here between 73 and 91 experienced almost no volume. There's a gap. There's virtually nothing there. Nothing. Bitcoin went straight from this block of trading, where you see all this trading took place, to this block of trading, where all this trading took place. And we completely skipped the middle. And so when Bitcoin started falling back to 91, we said it's obvious. Bitcoin's going to drop back to 73.8. Bitcoin didn't quite get there because it bounced about $1,000 higher at the 50 weekly simple moving average, but that's essentially what it did. We basically dropped all the way to the bottom of this range. That's essentially exactly what Bitcoin did. And so now we're in the process of filling in this gap between 74 and 91. It's a $17,000 tall gap. It needed to be filled, and here's why. If this gap did not get filled, this is what would have happened. To understand what would have happened, we've got to study history. Those who do not study history are doomed to repeat it, as the wise saying goes. If we did not see this take place, here's what would have happened. If you'll notice here, in the last bull market, we rallied to $20,000 as our prior all-time high. Right here, behind my head, right over there, right? We rallied to $20,000. Hopefully I pointed the right way. Should be that way. I don't know. You'll find out. You'll tell me. We rallied to $20,000, the previous all-time high, and then Bitcoin got so bullish on all the quantitative easing and the cheap money, 0% interest rates, negative interest rates. My goodness, the stuff happening in the beginning of the decade with COVID was absolutely stupid. Bitcoin moonshot from $20,000. Within 3 months, it was at $65,000. It was absolutely absurd. But within 4 months, we were at $60,000. We completely skipped over this zone between 20K and 28.5. This entire zone we skipped over. We built 28K as support, but it wasn't enough because the gap had not been filled. You can see the gap over here. That gap had to be filled. So guess what happened? We filled it. When we hit that floor during the last bear market at $28,000, we held it for a time. As you can see, this was the floor. You can even see it on the fixed range volume profile. There's all this volume right here. We hit the floor at 28. We bounced off of it for a while, turned into a bear flag. That bear flag ended up leading us right through the range all the way down to the bear market bottom. If not for the collapse of FTX that took place right over here on November the 2nd, I think it was, 2022, the bottom of the bear market would have been $17,500. And we would have spent just a few short weeks beneath 20K. All of this trading that took place here, delete that for a second. Let's just clean this up, turn that off. All this trading that took place here between these two red lines, which is where this gap was built because we rallied through that level so fast. You can see it right here on the fixed range volume profile. All of this trading right here would have been the bear market bottom. I was shouting at you to buy. Did you? Did you? I know people that did. I know some of you guys did. I know people in real life that bought back here. I was shouting at you. Buy. I'm not a financial advisor, but my goodness, it's obvious. Right? Bitcoin's 5x where it was back then. Why did Bitcoin drop down here? Why was the bottom of the bull market not at 28,000? It could have been. Bitcoin's bear market bottom could have been 28K and we would have seen a 58% crash. That could have happened. Why didn't it happen? Because this correction didn't drop us all the way back down to 20,000 to fill in this gap. We had to fill in this gap at the end of the bear market because this gap was left on the volume profile. Fast forward. We pull out the FRVP again. And history repeats itself. Those who do not study history are doomed to repeat it. You can listen to that wise counsel and follow it, or you cannot and get hurt. In exactly the same fashion that we did in December of 2020 and January of 2021, we built a massive gap because of extremely bullish news. In this case, it was cheap capital. In this case, it was the election of President Donald Trump and his pro-cryptocurrency strategic Bitcoin reserve policy. Because of extremely bullish news, we rallied so fast that we left a gap. You see, this is kind of what happens when people go into debt. They say, I'm going to buy a $400,000 house, and I'm going to skip 5 steps, and I can't afford it, but I'm going to put so much debt into my portfolio that I'm going to have to eat that sometime. And the bill comes due. When Bitcoin rallied so fast in November of last year, we warned you that it was moving too quick and it was going to end up being an issue. Bitcoin, when we rallied that quickly, left this gap, and it was always going to need to be filled. So the second that we broke below $90,000, $91,000 into this range, we told you that Bitcoin was going to drop down to 73.8, and we started telling you pretty soon thereafter that it was to fill this gap. Bitcoin needs, mark my words, Bitcoin needs to trade sideways between $73.8 and $91,000, or here's what's going to happen. Based on history, based on the way this market works, if we don't trade sideways for long enough between 73 and 91, Bitcoin's going to finish the bull market. It's going to go on a massive rally. It's going to go up to 160, 180, 200, and then the bear market's going to drop us right back down to 73, and the bill will come due, and Bitcoin will fill in that gap if we don't do it now. But here's the cool thing. If we fill in this gap right now at 73 and we trade sideways for a little while here until some big fundamental bullish news comes in, Bitcoin rallies and breaks 109. Then what will happen if we did fill in this gap? Then we'll probably spend another month down here to fill in the gap. We'll have a big piece of bullish news like the SB 21 passing through the Texas House of Representatives, going to the desk of Greg Abbott, being signed into law. Then you have Texas buying $250 million worth of Bitcoin. Just the bullish sentiment off of that would be enough to send Bitcoin to the moon. Maybe the United States Treasury announces that they're going to buy a bunch of Bitcoin. Yesterday, Senator Cynthia Loomis introduced the bill into the United States legislature for the acquisition of 1 million Bitcoin over a 5-year period. Some piece of big news comes in the summer, then here's what we end up doing. We end up rallying here up to 109,000, and we rally so fast that Bitcoin starts finding market structure support around 125 to 130. Then we leave a gap at 109 to 130 like we did here between 73.8 and 91. Then Bitcoin keeps rallying up to maybe 200, whatever it is, and then the bear market bottom ends up being 109 because the gap was up here between 109 and 125 or whatever the next level of support will be, rather than at 73. Because that takes place, instead of the bear market bottom having to be all the way down here at $73,800, now the bear market bottom can be here at 109, which means the next bull market is able to be higher, which means the legitimacy of Bitcoin is expanded, which means you, my friend, are invested in a much stronger technical market than you would be otherwise, because we spent time right here filling in this gap. If we don't do it now, we'll do it in 18 months at the bottom of the bear market. So you choose. Do you want to spend time at 73.8 to 91,000 right now, fill in that gap? By the way, load your bags with Bitcoin under 100K that you may never get to see again. Or do you want Bitcoin to go into a massive rally and then us not be able to go into the kind of bull market next time that we want to be able to, because the bear market bottom had to be so low that we dropped down to 73.8 and filled in that gap? Do you want that? Because I don't. I don't. That's not what I want. I want to see Bitcoin fill in this gap, build strong support. I want to see the house built with steel and solid yellow pine. I want to see it built with amazing building materials instead of what we've seen in bull markets past, where the bull market was built with toothpicks and duct tape. In the last bull market, the market was built with toothpicks and duct tape, and so was our company. In this bull market, we're building ourselves right, and so is Bitcoin, because instead of leaving these gaps, instead of leaving these holes, instead of cutting corners, Bitcoin's doing it the right way, filling in the entire chart so that the bears don't have an argument at all, because Bitcoin spent ample time at the right levels so that we could build into a stronger market. Bitcoin needs to spend time here at 73.8 to 91. I'm glad it's doing it. Are we going to break through 91 right now? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. Here's why. On the one hand, Bitcoin needs to stay here. And there's something about the market. It's almost like it knows it. It's almost like Bitcoin knows it needs to stay here. When you're above 73, you've got this strong support. We're probably not going far below 73.8. We could drop down to 67. That's the point of control for that level. That's possible. 67, absolute floor. Breaking above 91 is hard because there's so much resistance. Think about it. Let's just, we've got all our football drawings here. I don't want to delete them because they look so beautiful. Let's go into a different chart. If you look here at the visible range volume profile, VRVP, just take a look, right? It's almost like Bitcoin is locked into this zone. Let's just kind of put our brackets up here, 91 to 73. It's almost like Bitcoin's bracketed and locked into this zone below 91 because think about it like this. Bitcoin is like water. Bitcoin is like water. It flows to the lowest area. Jeb, you're crazy. What the hell are you talking about? I've been doing this for 8 years. These analogies are not coming out of nowhere. I know I sound crazy. Listen. I know what I'm talking about. Bitcoin is like water. It flows downhill. Right now, this zone between 73.8 and 91 is downhill. It's between this mountain peak at 67. It's between this mountain peak at 96. Bitcoin is like water. It flows downhill. Right now, the reason that we went through this correction is because this area on visible range volume profile is downhill. It's the valley. But here's the thing. The longer that the water flows down here, the more sediment it brings in, and the less this becomes a valley and the more it becomes a plateau. And in 2 months, if we're still down here, the visible range volume profile no longer has a peak here. It's just a plateau. And then guess what happens? If we spend even longer there, then it starts looking like this. Now, instead of the water running downhill to fill in the VRVP, now it's running downhill up towards 110. When you factor in the fundamental shifts that we're probably going to see coming in the next month or two, it'll probably be a month or two before Texas passes the SB 21, although it will most likely pass. We had a 9-0 unanimous vote in the Senate subcommittee, and we saw a 25-5 overwhelming majority positive vote in the Texas Senate. We're probably going to see something very similar in the House. Greg Abbott is not overtly pro-crypto, but he is kind of like right there. He's most likely going to sign it into law. So in the next couple of months, after we've spent our time filling in this visible range volume profile, that also lines up perfectly with the chronology. We're going to see some big bullish fundamental developments coming in, and then we'll start rolling down the metaphorical hill up towards 110 and beyond. So, are we going to break 91 right now? I don't think so, because water don't flow uphill. Just doesn't really do it. I also think that Bitcoin, as a market, needs to spend time here, and the market knows it, and the market has certain ways and mechanisms of keeping itself there, based on the volume profile, based on the resistance. Now, and just think about it. The longer we spend at 73, and the longer we spend between 73 and 91, the smaller the resistance from 91 to 109 looks. Because if we spend a year between 73 and 91, which we're not going to, but let's say we did, all of a sudden 2 months of resistance between 91 and 100, instead of that looking like this, looks like this. It's small, right? And instead of this massive resistance, it's like the peak of the mountain. Okay, fine. We'll just go right past it. No big deal. So the longer we spend here, the more likely it becomes that we're going to go into a rally. And the longer we spend here, the bigger that rally will be. So very excited about where the market is. I hope you understand kind of what we're talking about here. We need to build this market the right way, and it will be built the right way. Give it time. All right, let's read a little bit of chat. Sip on some coffee. Everybody's quoting Bruce Lee. He said, "Be water, my friend." You know what's funny? That quote is attributed to Bruce Lee, and Bruce Lee did say that and did popularize it, but actually the person that popularized the phrase of "be like water" was Jesus Christ himself, because he said he is the water of life, right? He says that he is living water, and all who drink of him shall never thirst again. All right, let's read a little bit of chat. Buenos dias, Jeb. Buenos dias, mi amigo Miguel. ¿Cómo está? Doesn't 73 break the yearly uptrend? Yes, it would slightly, but not much. You know, a small candle wick on in the grand scheme of things on these long-term markets, not much. There is this little uptrend right here. Well, actually, I take that back. It wouldn't. Oh, you're talking about the 50 moving average. Yes, it would. This uptrend right here that I thought you were talking about, we could drop all the way down to 70 and we'd be fine. But the 50 simple moving average here, we dropped slightly below it here. We would drop down to 73 or and a little bit lower. It's not a big breach. It's not a very large breach at all. Not something that we should be terribly concerned about. Now, here's the way that we know that the bear market hasn't started, and here's how we would know that it is starting if it does. The last bear market started when we broke the 50 simple moving average. You can see it right. Excuse me. You can see it right here. Delivering high quality analysis to you. Hit that subscribe button if you're new here. We do this every day for free. Subscribe. When we broke the 50 simple moving average on the weekly chart, that's when the bear market started. This correction right here, this 4-week period where we dropped down to 32, that's how we knew the bear market was starting. Good news, bad news. Good news is we know how to tell when the bear market is starting, and we know we haven't done it yet. Bad news, you got to be like 40% retrace from all-time high to call the bear market in Bitcoin, because bear markets are so freaking deep, and they're just very difficult to call because typically they start very quickly. We have not done that yet. If Bitcoin did break the 50 simple moving average on the weekly chart and broke it a lot, like we dropped down to 60K or 40 or 55K, that's where we'd start saying, yeah, bear market's here. We're nowhere near that point yet. If we were to drop down to 55K, that's where I'd start saying, okay, bear market might be on the way. Keep buying. Buy the bear market. We're coming back. It's going to come back strong. But that's where we'd be calling an early bear market. Don't see any evidence of that yet. Don't see any reason to believe that Bitcoin's going to drop down to 74. We've already seen Bitcoin's fear and greed get overextended. We dropped down to 12 the other day. Even during the last bear market, we didn't drop down there. We dropped down to 32. This is one of the most fearful times that Bitcoin has ever experienced, as calculated by fear and greed and also by many other technical indicators. It is overwhelmingly likely that the bottom in price not in time. We could spend 2 months down here, but the bottom in price, that price level is probably in or we're close to it. It's very likely that the bottom for Bitcoin's price is between 67 and its current bottom at about 75.5. Somewhere in there is most likely where the bottom's going to be. Now, real quick, before we read more chat, I want to let you know about something. There is currently a spin the wheel going on with Blowfin. If you sign up with the link in the description box down below, in fact, let me just update the link real quick. If you sign up with the link in the description box down below, you can enter to win yourself a major, let me just make sure the link's down here. There we go. You can make sure to win yourself up to $100 in Bitcoin. And actually, you can win up to a Bitcoin, 1.2 Bitcoin. Check this out. If you click the link that's in the description now, this is the spinner game over here for Bitcoin. If you deposit $100, then you're going to get $10 in Bitcoin. That's limited to the first 100 users, but you can also spin the wheel down here. This is very cool. So you can come here, spin the wheel, and then you can either earn 1.2 Bitcoin, $2 futures bonus, 0.004 Bitcoin, which is still a lot, 0.00001 Bitcoin, 0.00006 Bitcoin, $5 futures bonus, 0.1 Bitcoin. That's $10,000, my friends, about $8,500 or nothing. And so spin the wheel, go get some stuff. This is based on you signing up, being new, a new user for the $10 in Bitcoin. So basically, if you deposit $100, you get $10 for free. So if you want to go make 10%, just go deposit $100, get $10 for free. This is a lot of you guys that are just getting started in the space, trying to make your first few $1,000s. It's stuff like this that you do it on. I mean, that's 10% in like 5 minutes. Sign up for Blowfin with the link down below. Get $10. Boom, your account's 10% larger now. Good job. That's the first 100 users who do this. Those will go quick. We've got a lot of people signing up for Blowfin, so make sure to sign up with the link down below. And then you've also got the spin the wheel over here. There are different things that you can do to earn more chances to spin. You will earn one lucky draw chance for every futures trading volume of $10,000 or more. There's no limit to the number of chances, so act fast to secure your chances. Here's the deal. Some of you guys out there are leverage trading with millions of dollars of trading volume. I can see your trading volume. We've got hundreds of millions of dollars of trading volume under us. So if you sign up and you are trading here, you can come here and spin the wheel as many times as you want, more or less, because $10,000 of trading volume ain't nothing for some of you guys out there. You could spin this and get 1.2 Bitcoin. Do you want to go make $120,000 on a spin the wheel competition right now? You could do it. You could do it here with Blowfin. So make sure to sign up with the link in the description box down below. As you can see, there are exactly 4 days left in this. So register by clicking the link down below and clicking that register button. Do it now. Don't wait. Bitcoin is awaiting you. Literally, there's 8 options. Only 3 of them don't include Bitcoin. 5 of the 8 options include winning Bitcoin. That's awesome. So go get yourself some Bitcoin, make some money. It's always fun. Thank you very much to Blowfin. All right. Take my advice, y'all. The next Bitcoin bottom will be in December 2026. Saving by then. Good. Where do you think that bottom will be? Pew pew boom 2. What price? You sound a bit like Whitney Webb. You should be from the same area as her. I have no idea who that is, but I feel like I'm going to be, just absolutely annihilated for not knowing who that is. But it is funny that her last name's Webb because my middle name is Webb. So that does indicate that maybe we are from a similar area because I am named after a geographical formation in the area that I was born. So maybe there's a connection in name there. All right, let's see. Politics creates charts. Watch what companies get tax breaks and low interest, and the charts will go green. Yes, as of tomorrow, we're going to be seeing a Bureau of Labor Statistics update. We're going to be seeing what happens with the interest rates. I'm sorry, not the interest rates. The CPI, which will help to inform whether or not we're going to have rate cuts. It's looking like that we will probably not be seeing rate cuts until later on this year. I think September is when FedWatch is predicting from CME Group. Let's take a look and see what they're predicting here. I think they're predicting the first rate cut here. Let's see. Oh, interesting. Okay, so they're actually predicting a possible rate cut here in May, as early as May. Less likely, though. And then most likely a rate cut they predict will come in June. In July, they're predicting even more of a rate cut. By September, they're predicting possibly as much as a 50 basis point rate cut, which makes sense. As a few different people have been talking about on X, there is apparently, I need to fact check this and check into this, but what I'm seeing people talk about, apparently $7 trillion of the United States debt is up for refinancing. Trump wants to get it refinanced at as low of an interest rate as possible, basically to avoid shuffling money off to the Fed and to just in general and keep it to bring the overall United States interest payments down. If you didn't know, we have the largest line item at this point of the United States budget is interest payments, largest other than health. Department of Health and Human Services, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, all that kind of stuff. It is actually larger than the defense spending. We have it right here. Largest line item in the budget, third largest after Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security is interest on the debt. We are paying, and get this, $1 trillion per year for the debt. That is, by my head math, correct me if I'm wrong, about $3,000 a year per citizen. That is not per taxpayer. That is per citizen. You've got to understand that about 60% of the people that live in the United States are taxpayers because children don't pay taxes, right? Because there are some people that don't make money, so they don't pay taxes. Per taxpayer, this is probably about $6,000 a year that the United States government is spending on taxes. Sorry, on the interest on our debt. That equates to the individual taxpayer, me, you, whoever's paying taxes in the United States, roughly $500 a month. For every single one of us, $500 a month is going exclusively to the interest on our debt. That is more than the amount of money that we spend on defense. We spend $1 trillion on debt. $1 trillion a year on debt. The United States federal deficit is $2 trillion. The debt that the United States government holds, mostly it owes to itself, but the $100 trillion of debt across the board that the United States and its citizens hold costs us untold amount of money. I've been telling you for years, and I will tell it to you until I die, debt is slavery. It's like trying to run a marathon with a ball and chain around your ankle. The more debt you have, the heavier the ball. And so with this this refinancing coming up, Donald Trump is trying to, in my opinion, I think this is true. I think Donald Trump is trying to do this. I think Donald Trump is trying to crash the markets in the short term. They're going to crash anyway. The tariffs are coming out. It's collateral damage. I think he's probably trying to crash the markets, knowing that the tariffs are going to do it anyway, so you might as well get a 2-for-1 special, like you're at Cracker Barrel or something, right? Playing a little peg game, right? Let's go ahead and crash the markets, get the Fed to drop the interest rate so that when we have $7 trillion refinance, we can get a lower interest rate on it. Because remember, that's not principal repayment. No. That's just the freaking interest. So when interest rates go up, and you refinance the debt, or the United States takes out more debt in the form of issuing treasuries, because remember, the interest rate that is applied to a treasury is mostly based on the federal funds rate, more or less. It's not exact, but more or less. The treasury rate basically runs right along with the federal funds rate. When the United States is raising money to finance deficit spending, which is all the spending we do, they issue treasuries and bonds, and those treasuries, especially those treasuries, they come with an interest rate that is paid out. So $1 trillion a year is paid to either the United States citizens or is paid to the Fed. It's paid out and it goes against the budget. So what you're essentially doing is you're having people that are broke, paying taxes, and the people that are getting that money back is either the government or people that are buying treasuries. It's a reallocation of wealth. It's not what the government needs to be in the business of doing. It's a mess. And so that's probably going to be changing soon. Hopefully we can eradicate the United States debt. It would definitely make things a lot easier. Now, let's go ahead and read some chat. Appreciate all of you guys for being here. Trump is a huge fan of low rates. I'm a huge fan of low rates in the sense that it's lower interest, but I'm actually not the biggest fan of low rates. And here's the reason for that. I want debt to hurt. It should hurt. If you'll notice, for some of you guys that are a little bit more advanced in age, you'll remember back in the 60s, 70s era when interest rates were 20%. How many people were getting into just insane amounts of mortgage debt? Credit cards weren't even a thing yet. They weren't. People didn't do that. How much debt was there? The United States debt was less than 100th of what it is right now. When I was in 8th grade, going to middle school, just over there, going to middle school, we had $16 trillion of debt. Now we have $36 trillion of debt because we're adding $2 trillion a year. It's been 10 years, right? Actually, it's been a little more than 10 years, but you see the point. It's absurd. It's freaking crazy. In 1980, around that time, the United States federal debt to GDP ratio was 34%. Now it's 122%. Low interest rates stimulate stupid ideas like taking out a bunch of debt. I don't really want the interest rates to go down. Now, they probably are going to go down, and Donald Trump's trying to get rid of the debt, in theory, hopefully. I don't know. We'll see what he does. So I'm all for lower interest rates in that regard. But in the long run, we need to be done with it in general. Debt is the reason that the Great Depression happened. In the 1920s, in the Roaring 20s, debt started becoming a lot more popular. People started borrowing to finance lavish lifestyles, and it crashed the market. And instead of learning our lesson as a society and following the Bible and avoiding debt as a wise man or woman does, we decided to put up all kinds of safeguards so that we could use debt in a way that wouldn't crash the market in the short term. And now we're paying the price for that 100 years later because our forefathers made stupid decisions to allow our economy to continue running on debt. The debt market is one of the biggest issues with our current economy. We need to do something about it. And the way we do something about it is within the four walls of our home, eradicating it and saying, I will not be a part of that economy. Everybody wants to talk about how they're going to boycott Target because they've got this, or they're going to boycott Elon Musk because of that. Here's what you ought to boycott. Boycott the freaking banks that have a skyscraper 80 stories taller than your little tiny house that you're worried is going to be stolen by them. Boycott them. Where's my bag? Here it is. This is what I think of credit cards. Go ahead. That's what I think of them. It's stupid. It's really freaking stupid. It's really freaking stupid. Oh, people talk about tax the rich, tax the billionaires. You know, half of them are bankers. If you got an issue of them being billionaires, then quit giving them all your money and interest payments. Oh, tax the rich, tax the rich, tax the billionaires, tax the billionaires. Quit paying them with your cards. It's stupid. It's really freaking stupid. Get out of debt, get Bitcoin, have a pile of cash, have some financial muscle so when somebody walks up to you and slaps you across the face in business, it doesn't slow you down a bit. I don't need you. I've got cash. I've got Bitcoin. I don't have debt. I have financial strength. Put some strength on. Some financial strength on. Get rid of the debt. Get some cash. Get some Bitcoin. Cut where you need to get there. Just absolutely ticks me off. We don't follow the Bible. We don't follow the laws of money. And we pay the price. And then we start blaming ourselves. We divide ourselves as a society. And we say, it's the rich people. It's the poor people. It's the white people. It's the black people. It's the women. It's the men. It's the Asians, it's the Hispanics, it's the Africans, it's the Americans, it's the Europeans, it's the this, it's the that, it's the this, it's the that. You turn into an Italian. That's what that sounded like. I wasn't even trying to do that, right? We start dividing ourselves. The world knows that the only way that the United States ever could be beat is from the inside. The only way the United States can come down is from the inside. The United States is the most powerful country on the history of the planet, in the history of the planet, in the history of mankind, for geographical reasons, for cultural reasons, for just resource reasons, for just a ton of reasons. So every reason that you could possibly think of, the United States is the most powerful country on planet Earth. It can never be taken down militarily. It can never be taken down geopolitically. It can never be taken down economically, but it could be taken down culturally. We as a culture have got to start being wise or we will lose our very way of life. This is not a joke. We've got to start being serious about this. And instead of running around and blaming everybody else, because I see a lot of people that are racking up credit card debt every single month, complaining about the national debt while they're doing the exact same thing in their house, instead of blaming everybody else, we need to take an appointment with the mirror and start straightening that guy out. You need to go look in the mirror. I need to go look in the mirror and say, are you doing that? Do you have a beam in your eye? Do you have a log in your eye? Are you complaining about the government's debt and you're racking up debt also? What's your debt to GDP ratio? Do you make $100,000 a year and you've got $130,000 worth of debt? You've got a 130% debt to GDP ratio also. Not exactly the same, but There's no wonder the government looks like that. The American people look like that. Politics is downstream of culture. The culture has embraced debt. It's no wonder that the government has so much debt. If we want the government to not have so much debt, then on a spiritual level, we've got to say enough is enough. I'm done patting these banker skyscrapers. I'm done giving them an extra 10 stories on their penthouse. I'm done with it. I'm sick and tired of it. I want to be free. I do not want to be a slave. I want to have some Bitcoin. I want to have some cash. I want to have some real estate. I want to have a paid-for house. I want to have a fun, prosperous, enjoyable life where I'm not constantly worried. I can sleep at night. I don't have insomnia and high blood pressure. I don't have headaches all the time. I'm not irritable and angry all the time because I don't know whether my family's going to be able to eat. I'm going to make wise choices right now so that in the future I can live on a pile of my good decisions rather than being crippled and buried under a pile of my stupid decisions. We've got to take this serious. You must carpe diem and seize the day. You must make a change right now. And if you don't be surprised when things go south. As a nation, we're so ticked off about having so much debt while going into more ourselves. Jesus Christ the righteous said it best himself. Do not look at the mote in your brother's eye when you have a beam in yours. Do not look at the speck in your brother's eye when you got an eye beam sticking out of yours. Get the log out of your eye. Get the log out of your eye. Get yourself figured out. And then go speak passionately about why other people need to do the same. That is the entire purpose of this channel. Behind the scenes, trying to get myself as good as possible, on point as I possibly can, as wise as I can grow, as kind and loving and as intelligent and wise as I can be, and then show you guys how to be the same. Ushering in blessings on our family so that our blessing and our family in strength can turn around and do the same for yours. Unlike most channels, that their whole value proposition is they've got a certain funny way of teaching you technical analysis. I mastered that and showed you guys how to do that a long time ago. We do that in 2 minutes. It's called 2-minute technicals. We do it every once in a while. I can show you the technical markets like that. That's easy. What I really want you to do is revolutionize your life. That's why this channel is unlike any other channel in the entire cryptocurrency space. There's not a single other channel on YouTube that does exactly what we do, and that's why I want you to subscribe. If you've not already subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We are on our way to 250,000 subscribers. We're on our way. We're 8,000 subscribers away. We're at an all-time high. We're getting up there. Hit that subscribe button. Join us on the ride. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a long one. We got a lot to cover, and we're going to honor God while we're doing it. I really appreciate all of you guys for being here. Let's read some chat. Very powerful crypto jeb. The devil devours and consumes. God created, so if he created us in his image, we must create for the kingdom and not consume for selfishness. That's right. Jesus Christ's entire ministry was one of self-sacrificial love. It was full of wisdom. It was full of delayed gratification. At the very beginning of Jesus' ministry, he fasted and prayed for 40 days, and the devil told him, if you bow down and worship me, I will give you all the kingdoms of the earth. Well, guess what? Jesus is on the throne now, and he has all the kingdoms of the earth. But the devil said, I will give them to you, and you don't have to go to the cross. You don't have to suffer that pain. But the devil never had real power. He couldn't actually fulfill that promise. Maybe for a little while, but he couldn't actually fulfill that promise because he's not God. Jesus delayed gratification and said, no, my Father told me to lay down my life and sacrifice and save the people of this world from their sin. He commanded Jesus to go to the cross and die for your sins and for mine so that we could be born again. He suffered in the short term so that in the long term, he and those around him that he loved would be glorified. He, one man, suffered so that he and everyone else that are his children, that are his brothers, I suppose, God's children, would be able to be glorified. If he had taken the short way out, he would have, first of all, would have been out of his character, but it would not have worked. He would have died, and none of us would be saved. Because he chose to delay the gratification of sitting on the right hand of the Father as the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And he chose to take the hard route, which was going to the cross and dying. Not only is he glorified forevermore, amen, so are we when we follow him and believe in him. And we've got to act very similar in our finances. We've got to be willing to take a short-term sacrifice. Maybe we've got to stop eating out so much. Maybe we've got to sell the stupid car. Maybe we got to move to a smaller house. Maybe we got to take a promotion. Maybe we got to work an extra 10 hours because we're lazy and we're working part-time. Maybe we got to do something that we don't want to do right now. I'll tell you what, we get up at 5, 5:45, 6 o'clock every month. I do not like getting up early. I like getting up at 9:30. I can't do that. I got to take the sacrifice that now I'm going to get up earlier because I got a job to do. I got a business to run. I got a family to love. And people 5, 10, 20 years, heck, next month are going to be in a better position because I'm taking a sacrifice right now. We've got to have self-sacrificial love for one another, for our family, for the people around us, and for our future selves in our decision-making today. And if we don't, feel free to go right ahead and suffer the consequences. But I don't want you to have to do that. I don't want you to have to suffer the consequences of foolishness. And the reason that I speak so boldly the way that I do here is because whether you listen to me or not, what I'm saying is true. Whether you believe what I'm saying or not, it's coming. Whether you agree with what I'm saying or not, whether you logically wrap your mind around it, what I am saying is true and it will come to pass and you will regret it if you do not follow wisdom. I'm not saying I got everything figured out. But what I am saying is if you do not follow God's wisdom, it will be a curse upon your life. I guarantee it. 100%, every single last person that ever hears me say that, 100% of you, not one of you will ever get away with not realizing I was right. So listen, learn to be wise, make good choices, and be glad you did. And if you were making a wise choice, just know virtually every single time you make the right decision, it's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you what you want. When you make the right decision that will lead to a blessing later, every single time you will know it's the right decision because it's going to cost you what you want right now. When you put money into Bitcoin, you could have gone and bought a Big Mac with that money. When you get up earlier, you could have slept for 2 more hours. When you put away the porn, when you put away the drugs, when you put away this, you put away that, whatever it is, when you put it away, you're giving up what you know you want so that in the future you'll have something 1,000 times better. When a farmer has to buy seed and put it in the ground, it costs him money to buy those seeds. And later on, he gets a profit. He gets a reward because in the short term, he took a cost. And then he got something bigger. So make a choice. Make a choice right now. Are you going to give up what you want in the short term so that you can have what you want in the future? Are you or are you not? Hope you've enjoyed today's stream. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I know my message is not for everybody. I know exactly who I'm speaking to. There are some of you guys that know exactly that I'm right and you're listening, and good for you. There are some of you guys who think I'm freaking crazy, and I pray to the Lord Jesus that one day you will come back and realize, man, that Jeb guy, he was onto something. He loved me enough to tell me the truth, even though it offended me. He was not trying to hurt my feelings. He just wanted me to succeed. Some of you are forwards, and you'll come back in 5, 10 years, maybe in 2 months, however long, and you realize, man, Jeb was onto something. I got people in my life like that. They told me something 10 years ago. I thought they were absolutely crazy. I go back to them today. I'm like, man, thank you so much for being willing to offend me and tell me the truth. I'm glad you said that because that seed that you planted in me grew into something. Some of you guys are like that. Some of you are going to say, forget this. I'm out of here. I'm never going to see this guy again. And a couple years from now, you're going to come back and say, oh, man, he was on to something. And then there's that middle group who says, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Jeb's right. Maybe he's wrong. I don't know. But this middle group is where I've spent a lot of time. This middle group's where I've spent a lot of time because here's the thing. If you're in that middle group and you say, he might be right, he might be wrong. The claims I'm making, Jesus Christ is Lord, and he tells us what to do with money along with everything else in the rest of our life. And if we obey him and follow him in his love, then our life will be better. That's too big of a claim for you not to investigate. If you're on the fence and you don't know whether what I'm saying is right or not, it's too big of a claim for you not to look into. People say, Jeb, you're so logical. How do you believe in Jesus? Because I looked into it. Because I looked into it. I read the Bible. I read the historical accounts. I did the research. I looked into the archaeology. I looked at people who said he didn't live. I looked at people who said he did. I looked at it. I looked into it. I studied it. I asked for understanding. Looked into it. If Jesus is the Messiah, heaven's real, hell's real, and I get a choice on which one I go to, that is too big of a claim for me not to investigate. If you're on the fence, you know right now what I'm saying. If I'm right, I'm really right. And if I'm wrong, go ahead, write me off. Never come back. That's okay. I love you enough. That's all right. I respect your choice. But some of you guys are on the fence right now. You're like, Jeb's making some claims here. I don't know if they're true. But you know deep down that they're too important not to investigate. Investigate them. It's not about me. Never was. It's about you prospering. I want you to have a good life. All right. Hope you enjoyed today's stream. I got to wrap it out. Really appreciate you all being here. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you've not already. Make sure to sign up for the Financial Sovereignty Academy. Everything I'm talking about right now, we're teaching it over in FinSov Academy. Later on today, we've got a new video coming out. It is week 8 of the Financial Sovereignty Way. That is where we pay off our mortgage. This is a 35-minute long video where I completely dispel the myth that you need a mortgage to succeed with the American dream. This is where I'm going to teach you exactly how to prosper with money in our hours of content using our 7 laws of money, our 10 steps of the financial sovereignty way. These are proven. These are timeless. These are thousands of years old. I'm going to show you exactly how to apply the 7 laws of money and the 10 steps of the financial sovereignty way to revolutionize your life financially. So make sure you sign up for the Financial Sovereignty Academy today and join our growing network of students around the world who are learning how to revolutionize their life financially. This video right here, paying off your house early, this video is getting uploaded today. Week 9 is shot. It'll be coming out next week, so make sure to stay tuned for more content coming into FinSov Academy. Sign up for only $104 right now with the link in the description box down below. That's our annual price. Very inexpensive. Make sure to sign up down below. Learn how to succeed with money. You just got a taste of what it looks like in there from what we've just talked about. If you want to learn more, that's the place to do it. Go into FinSov Academy, study it, see if I'm right. I am, but go ahead and find out for yourself. I appreciate you all being here. Before we go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.